All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er draft video in advance of the upcoming NFL draft. And we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out, 2 locations, Corona, Madera, and Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Get the brisket. And tell them that Krug sent you. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers draft. They don't pick until the 3rd round of the draft. Their primary needs are there's a number of needs, but I would say a lot of people think right tackle is a primary need, but I think they've made it perfectly clear they're going to go with Colton McKivitz. They signed Matt Pryor. They have Spencer Burford, who could probably kick out to right tackle. I do expect them to draft a right tackle, but most of the top right tackles go in the top of the draft. And when I say top, I mean the top 20, 25 picks. So I don't think they're going to have the ability to trade up for an offensive tackle, but they do have 3 picks in the 3rd round. They have 99, 101, and 102. 3 picks there at the end of the 3rd round. And if they decided to trade up, I think they can get into maybe as high as the first half of the 2nd round by trading up. Now, John Lynch has referenced that he may not trade up, and that he thinks the depth of the draft is the defining trait of the 2023 draft. But 2 players that, if they were to trade up, I think they would be targeting. And I'm going to point to cornerback and defensive end. And we're going to start with Emmanuel Forbes, the junior cornerback from Mississippi State. Mississippi State has had a great run of producing cornerbacks. Emerson was really good. There's been a number of guys coming out of Mississippi State. Mississippi State also puts together some of the best athletes every year on the defensive side of the ball. And Emmanuel Forbes is exactly that. He's an elite athlete. He's a junior cornerback. He's had 14 career interceptions in 3 seasons in Starkville. This guy's just got length for days. 4.35 40-yard speed, so he's got elite speed, 37.5-inch vertical. So the physical profile is off the charts. Awesome length, awesome speed. And then you turn on the film, and the film is incredible. Now, he went to Granada High School in Mississippi. He was a 3-sport athlete, basketball, football, and baseball. And he is 6'1", 166 pounds. That 166 pounds is probably the reason he's going to be there in round 2 and not go in round 1, because this is a first-round talent that's going to be in round 2. And it's largely because of that 166 pounds. There are teams in the NFL that won't draft a player who's under 180 pounds. So 166 is definitely on the lean side. But when you look at the player, this player is so special. He had 6 pick sixes in his career. That's an FBS record. He was a 4-star high school recruit. He's got great speed. As I said, 4.35, but his 10-yard split's 1.48. He's got crazy length. And he was good from the beginning. SEC all-freshman nod his first year in college. He had 5 picks as a freshman, including 3 pick sixes as a freshman. And then in 2022, this last year, he was 3rd in the nation with interceptions with 6. He's long, he's fast, he's an elite ball skills player. He reads the quick game very instinctively and jumps those routes. He's really great in zone coverage, but he's equally great in press man. Now, what are his weaknesses? He's a little bit of a grab and drag tackler at 166 pounds. This guy's not out there for his unbelievable tackling ability. And if you watch him, he can be a little over-aggressive. And I think he bites on double moves, so he's prey to double moves. But, man, if you saw him, he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week against Texas A&M, and he is just a special, special player. He's the length, the ball skills. He can high point the ball, and he makes plays on the football. And this guy would have had even bigger interception numbers, but opposing quarterbacks stayed away from him. They went to the other side of the field because he was that good. This is a guy whose reputation was he was going to take it away, and yet he still had ball skills and production on the football. He's got really good instincts, elite speed. This guy consistently ran up and down the field with the best wide receivers in the SEC, and he made it look easy. And we're talking about a guy who's a total ball hawk. I mean, the pick six is 6 pick sixes in his college career. That's a record. So I mean, he's a classic press corner. And he really, he's a guy who is good against the run, but he needs to get stronger. He plays more physically than you would think, considering he's 166 pounds. But when you watch him, he's incredibly fluid. He can get to that top gear. He's got crazy length, elite ball skills. I mean, very fluid, great change of direction. I mean, I really love Emmanuel Forbes. This guy owns the record for pick sixes, second team All American as an AP senior, I should say, as an AP All American, SEC Defensive Player of the Week against A&M. Just a tremendous player, and he's been a tremendous player all the way through. So I think a total shutdown corner, he's exactly the kind of corner the 49ers really need. They need a dominant number one corner that can absolutely erase opposing wide receivers. And I think this is a first round talent that's going to wind up there in the second round because he's 166 pounds. But you know what? I don't need this guy to play the run. I need this guy to be a dominating, take away half the field kind of a corner. And I think this is that dominant outside corner that the 49ers have lacked since Deion Sanders. All right, so one of the reasons I love Emmanuel Forbes is he's a first-round talent that I think is going to wind up in the second round. Another guy who fits that mold is the defensive end from right here in the Bay Area, Antioch zone, De La Salle zone, Isaiah Foskey. He's a 4-3 defensive end who played at Notre Dame. I love Foskey. 6'5", 264 pounds, 34-inch arms, ran 4.58 at that weight, a 1.66 10-yard split. Great athlete, 34-inch vert, strong enough, 22 reps at 225. And if you watch him play, this is a guy who's played as a stack backer. He's played with his hand in the dirt. He's played upright as an outside backer. He's scheme versatile. For the Niners, he would play opposite Nick Bosa as a 4-3 defensive end. But what I love about him, he's got great functional strength. He sets the edge. In 2021, he took over as Notre Dame's number one pass rusher, and he had 12 and a half tackles for loss, and he was 10th in the FBS with 11 sacks, and wait for it, 6 forced fumbles. Foskey's big time. He was their team captain, and then he followed it up in 2022. He was second team All-American. He had 14 tackles for loss, and as a senior, he was 6th in the FBS with 11 sacks. He also is a hell of a player on special teams. He's got 4 career blocked punts. Lance Zierlein, who I think is pretty sharp when it comes to evaluating these players, made his NFL comp for Foskey Yannick Ngakoue. So there's an awful lot of people saying, go sign Yannick Ngakoue. The reality is you got to pay. You got to really dramatically overpay to get these guys in free agency. And why pay Ngakoue if you could trade up for Isaiah Foskey? He's an incredibly hard worker. There's no question in my mind that his best football is ahead of him. He still needs to develop. He still needs to, work on his technique. But we're talking about a player who I think could be a phenomenal foundation piece opposite Nick Bosa for the next 5 to 10 years. So, are the Niners going to trade up from round 3 into round 2? I don't know. John Lynch has kind of hinted that he's gonna sit right there and pick guys at the end of the third round. But if by chance Isaiah Foskey, who a lot of people have going anywhere from 20 to 40, if he falls out of the first round, if I'm the Niners, I'm looking to move up. If Emmanuel Forbes falls out of the first round, if I'm John Lynch, I'm looking to move up. Defensive end, the edge rusher spot, a true number one corner. Those are the kinds of picks that could absolutely revolutionize your defense. And if I'm the 49ers, if they are going to wind up trading up, look for Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback at Mississippi State, or Isaiah Foskey, the defensive end from Notre Dame, coming to your 49ers. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being a proud sponsor of The Krug Show, and thanks for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.